It is just past 1 o'clock. We are not inside Eford Studios, but we're always thanking Empire Properties. We are live. Let's podcast live. Joe Giglio, Joe Ovies. We're at Longleaf Swine today, pre-gaming, if you will, for the NC State Wake Forest game tonight. It's to be determined if we will be in emergency after dark protocols tonight. If NC State loses to Wake Forest, then yes, we will enact emergency after dark protocols. If they win, well, we'll just see you tomorrow on the free portion of the mailbag and talk about some of the stuff that we saw the night before. But we are, of course, live, always thanks to our friends at the Butcher's Market. Check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. You need to tailgate stuff. You want to take advantage of the cooler weather and grill outside, or you're just busy like I am all the time running around for various hockey rinks and you don't have time to make dinner. They got stuff for you to make as well. That's all thanks to the Butcher's Market. But, Joe, we are pre-gaming at Longleaf today.
We are.
And
Come
what
on
else?
down. The okra is in season.
Oh,
I cannot recommend the okra enough. It's not what you think.
if you're
It's like
watching
a
on YouTube right
it's
now,
like
you
a
can
shred,
see it. Yeah.
and it does taste like potato chips.
Dude, it's delicious. And they have,
so good.
they have a nice sauce that goes along with it as well.
Yep.
We're also selling hats right now live.
We are.
Come buy a hat
we
from
sold
Joe
two hats
Giglio.
today. We sold two.
Come buy a
My
hat from
faith
Joe
in
Giglio.
humanity has been restored. I guess my faith in the class of 93 maybe, but we'll see.
You're finding out that styles for old people might not necessarily be styles
Hey.
for young people.
We just sold one of the Triangle Goods.
See?
James Giglio now has sold more hats than I have. So
See? That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all
buddy.
about.
Learn your lessons. Move it along.
We are a little bit of programming note. Earlier today, Jeremy Markovich from the NC Rabbit Hole newsletter came to the studio. We recorded a conversation, which we will run later. Getting to the bottom, he was triggered by the John Bunting soundbite that we use for the 25 soundbites that explain the last 25 years of Triangle Good. And he was thrown off by the Aye Zigga Zoomba because he's like, I'd never heard that anywhere other than Bowling Green. So we sent him down a rabbit hole. So we do a little homage to Pablo Torre, and Jeremy Markovich found out, if you will. We'll run that. We'll run that a little bit later on. But yeah, man, we got week 3 college football. All the local teams are in action. Let's go ahead and start with tonight's game with NC State going to Wake Forest, which typically, if Dave Clawson were still the head coach of the Demon Deacons, I would say, I don't care what DraftKings is saying right now. Just take straight up Wake Forest money line on this one. But it's not Dave Clawson anymore, who we talked to last week or the week before. This is the Jake Dickert era. And the thing is, I don't know jack squat about this Wake Forest team in the first 2 games. They struggled to put away Kennesaw State, which then got blown out the following week. And then they put it on Western Carolina last week with a bunch of explosive plays. But I still don't really know what to tell you about Wake Forest. Was it Robbie Ashford's their quarterback? He's good on the ground, but he hasn't really played a bunch since 2022 when he was at Auburn. They got a good running back in Claiborne, which I guess if you're going to be looking for anything tonight, we all know about NC State's offense and what they can do with C.J. Bailey. I think this is just another test for the NC State defense, which has been mid so far this year.
Yeah, now, here's my scouting report on Wake Forest. You did a pretty good job there. Claiborne, who is their best player, and had 193 yards against Wake Forest, got hurt on the first series against Kennesaw State. Jake Dickert, being a new coach in his very first game, was like, yeah, maybe we don't have to play our best player to beat Kennesaw State.
Well,
Funny thing is, the rest of Wake's roster is suspect.
yeah.
Now, just how suspect, and I did a whole shtick on Josh Graham's show. I'm not going to assume there's a lot of concentric circles between our audience and Josh Graham's.
No.
But when we met Jake Dickert down in Charlotte, he was super fucking impressive, like crazy impressive. And he even has a Born in the Darkness or something in the darkness.
Made in the dark.
Made in the darkness.
Something like that.
After watching Wake Forest against Kennesaw State, I got great news for Jake. They're going to be in the darkness for a minute. It's going to be a minute. They're going to have to be forged in the darkness because I don't see this season getting very bright for them. In fact, this may be their best chance to win an ACC game all year. And now part of that is the quality of their offensive line and their defensive front.
Yeah.
And part of that is they actually play, You know how Carolina's over here going, man, wow. Are we going to play a team with a winning record in the ACC ever? Oh, yeah, we play Clemson. But, yeah, I'm like, are we ever going to play a good team?
Right.
May I introduce you to Wake Forest's schedule? They do play Georgia Tech. They do play SMU. They do play Florida State. And, yes, of course, they play Carolina, Duke, and NC State. So, if you can't tell, I'm very down on the Deeks.
Yeah.
And as I'll say it again, Dave Clawson ain't walking through that door Tommy Castellano style to save you. So, believe it or not, Dave Doran has not had a winning record against Dave Clawson, which I still find unbelievable.
I know, because you only think about the bad times.
Right.
Because the losses to Wake Forest were so stunning.
Crippling. They were just
and they
so crippling.
And they basically completely changed. It put how you viewed the season on tilt, because it wasn't losing to the Clemsons of the world that knocked you out of that kind of stuff. It was losing to Wake Forest and Dave Clawson that would completely change how you viewed that year.
And that was the text message I got today, 17, 18, 21. You just flipped one of those results, and how differently do people look at Dave Doran? Those were all his 9-win seasons. As I mentioned, he has had 4, and in 3 of them, he's lost to Wake Forest, which have prevented him from getting to that 10-win mark. But if you think about it, he's actually 2-4 down in Winston-Salem, including the win in 23 when Wake was bad.
Well,
so this feels more like that to me. I'm not sure State is going to be gangbusters this year, but I think they take care of business tonight in a fairly handy fashion. I believe we'll see that tonight. Because you want to know really why?
Why?
I was all excited after meeting Jake Dickert.
Yeah.
And he was at Washington State. And I thought to myself, well, that's really good. You know, like Washington State was going through a bunch of shit, and he had a coach through that. And he obviously did a pretty good job. And then I watched Oklahoma and Michigan last week in primetime, Joe. You probably don't know this. Oklahoma's offensive coordinator is Washington State's old offensive coordinator. And I was like,
okay.
I wonder who the brains of the operation was. And then Oklahoma's quarterback is the quarterback who replaced Cam Ward. So what I'm getting at is Wake Forest got Washington State's coach, and they got like 14 transfers from Washington State.
Yeah.
But they did not get the 2 valuable parts of the Palouse. Instead, Go Cougs reigns on in Norman, Oklahoma, while Winston-Salem remains in the darkness.
Shout out to Scott. Y'all are confusing me. When you're all looking at each other, you're opposite of what the screen shows. Yes, because I screwed up and I had the windows in the wrong spot. That has since been corrected. I apologize. Plus, I was also really getting annoyed at the excavator that was beeping up a storm back there.
That was like a hole puncher.
Yeah.
It's probably a more technical term for that.
Well, I had a book that the kids were super into back in the day that they could name those things on site. They'd be able to name it. But look at this. We got
turn the camera around while we're in real time.
There we go. The OG light has arrived. Let's freaking go. Yeah, we got word that they had run out of OG light here at Longleaf Swine, and brought Jeremy Markovich out here for lunch. And I kind of got on him because he ordered a beer and it wasn't OG light. I'm like, buddy, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
He's like, I forgot. And of course, we ordered it, and we're still waiting on the re-up, which I knew was supposed to happen today. And yes, we got a re-up of OG light, which real quick, before we add some more stuff to the NC State Wake Forest game and look ahead to North Carolina and Duke and everything else. Look, man, I appreciate everybody who's come out to Longleaf, has ordered the beer. We should have some re-ups at P Street Market as well. Chris over at P Street's been impressed with people showing up and buying the beer. So we're going to keep making the beer as long as y'all still want it. And clearly there's some demand for it. So the fact that you sold it out here at Longleaf Swine and it keeps getting sold out at P Street, and we have some other locations that it'll be at as well. Our friends at the Butcher's Market, they will carry OG light as well. I think it's supposed to be at the Cary location there off of Kildare Farms Road pretty soon. As we get the new, because I know 50 new cases were canned this week. We have 50 new cases canned.
You went for a full re-up.
We have full re-up because people want the beer.
Hey, we had a big time at First Friday. I'll tell you that now.
We did. So that's good stuff. So thanks to everybody who's been going out there and buying the beer. So one other note about the NC State Wake Forest game, and I know I've been putting a lot on the defense, but I think after 2 weeks, most people can understand that if NC State's going to make anything of this season, and what is it? The schedule if these things go on the current trajectory, the most law of the wolf NC State thing would be that they would be, if I have it right, they'd be 6-0 when they go to Notre Dame. That's in play, right?
They have the potential, yes, to start the season 6-0.
Okay.
They do have that potential.
I think it's actually going to happen at this rate.
I think they're going to lose to Duke.
I don't think they're going to lose to Duke because that's the other thing. Duke, I tried to say this back in the summer, and what happened against Illinois can only drive Manny Diaz even more insane. And while Darian Mensah is a good quarterback, Duke continues to shoot itself in the foot. Okay. And that's the thing that last year that they were fortunate to have the record that they did in these one-score games.
Oh,
you can tell me fourth quarter team. Yeah, I think they're 7-1 in one-score games. You know,
that's hard to duplicate.
It's very hard. And look, and there's a reason why. If we want to go back to like earlier this week, I went back to why our Dave Doran conversation where I was like, hey man, you comfortable winning 35-31, 38-35, that kind of thing, which is exactly what happened in their win against Virginia. The same thing happened with Manny Diaz because Manny's been through this before when he was at Miami, where it's very, very hard to replicate the turnover chain blessed season of 2017 that got you into the ACC championship game, and the bill came due for the Hurricanes against a loaded Clemson squad. So the one fear that I would have with Duke in particular, and I'll be really curious to see what this homecoming game for Darian Mensah against Tulane, and how do we feel about the coach Tulane? In Summerall.
I feel like young John's first words were beat Duke because John Summerall, who is Tulane's coach, probably I don't want to say he should have been Carolina's top target because I feel like he's holding out for either a Big Ten or an SEC job. But it certainly would have made more sense to hire John Summerall than it did to hire Bill Belichick. And it makes me laugh because you and I back in 2019, we weren't working together yet. We had the same idea, and we advanced the same idea to Bubba Cunningham at the time.
Yeah.
Your new football coach should be Scott Satterfield. That's who your new football coach should be.
At the time, that made the most amount of sense, and Satterfield absolutely wanted to be there.
Yes, from Orange County, the whole thing.
Yep.
And Bubba at the time said one of the great, we're what is it called? The statute of limitations.
Oh, it's
passed.
gone. Yeah, it's gone.
One of the great off the record comments of all time. He goes to me, well, who says I can't hire him?
Right.
Meaning he hired Mac for the short term and then could then hire Satterfield to replace Mac. Now I'm starting to think, well, who says I can't hire Summerall?
This is a good point.
Who says he won't be Carolina's coach next year?
Because
although I do think a lot of SEC job.
They're gonna throw the money at. Yeah.
And so I just think that's a really fascinating game for Duke. Now Tulane has not been great.
No,
they beat Northwestern, who is on the all-time struggle bus, 23-3, and then they struggled at South Alabama, 33-31. Did win the game. Please don't get me wrong. I do think they have better players than most people give Tulane credit for. Like this will be a dogfight for Duke. And to your point, Duke won all of their dogfights last year, except the SMU game.
But that's the and that's the other thing too. It's like even in games in which they're literally trying to hand it back to you, like the SMU game where they turned the ball over 6 times, they still found themselves in a one-score game that they lost.
Yeah.
So while I have been impressed by what Manny Diaz has been able to do at Duke so far, while I've been impressed,
particularly on the defensive side of the ball, like they're very sound defensively.
Yes, I would expect nothing less from Manny Diaz.
I know.
And I've also been impressed, and you and I are in agreement on this when it comes to Duke. I've been impressed in how they've operated the NIL world and putting serious investment into football. I get all those types of things, but I'm still I think the jury's still out on Duke a little bit. Okay.
Sure.
And they got to execute better offensively. We haven't seen that necessarily. They had a repeat performance to start the year against Elon, and the less said about the Illinois game, the better, because it was just like I think I said this on Monday. They kept punching themselves in the dick, and you can't do that expect to win football games.
So they don't play Miami.
No.
I'm just telling you, Illinois might be the only playoff team on their schedule.
Yes.
So I get what you're saying. The final score was not great, and I know you were at the game and you saw the first half and how they were able to play.
You can spare me the whole, well, Duke was outplaying them, and if you look at the box score, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but you still did dumb things.
But here's what I'm getting at. Last year they made a splash in the portal for their quarterback.
Yes.
Right. And I don't think Malik Murphy. I don't think there was any point last year where I watched Malik Murphy and thought, oh, well, yeah, he's totally worth their investment that they're making.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear after 2 games that Darian Mensah is well worth the investment that they're making.
I agree.
And to your point, that their ability to get the top quarterback who was available in college football, you have to give credit to Nina King for Duke's athletic director for what they've done on the football side, and it's for this very specific reason. Mike Krzyzewski ran Duke athletics for a very long time.
Yeah.
And maybe not finger an everyday lever, but hey, you're going to do what now? You're going to invest what? Where?
Yeah.
Not in men's basketball?
Not under my watch.
No, you're not.
You know what?
No, you're not. I'm going to go interview with the fucking Lakers.
I'm going to go check out the Lakers.
Yeah.
And I got a practice facility right after that. Huh.
And every AD other than the first who hired him, who we worked for, he strong-armed.
Yes.
And, so his retirement allowed Nina to apply sensibilities from Duke men's basketball to Duke football. And to your point on the NIL-wise and structure-wise and investment-wise, what they've done has been miles ahead of NC State, and it's what has inspired Carolina to make the investment that they have. So super interesting game on a couple of different levels for Duke and Tulane.
Meanwhile, we got North Carolina hosting Richmond after a very uninspiring win against Charlotte this past weekend.
Yeah.
I was bored. I was killing some time drinking some bourbon here at Longleaf, so I decided to go back and look at the idea that UNC will not beat themselves under Bill Belichick. Remember, that was your thing. And after 2 weeks so far, that proclamation isn't really coming true. Now, one thing that one of our listeners pointed out, and I said, okay, let me just see the first 2 games of the season, penalties. Because that was one of the things under Mac Brown that were very, very bad.
Abysmal.
Not that I want to go back all the way to 2022, but it is worth pointing out that they had a 12 penalty performance against App State in that ridiculous, 63-61 win up in the mountain. It didn't need to be like that. When you have 12 penalties, you keep the other team in the game for a very, very long time. Just drive-killing penalties, extending plays, all that kind of stuff. Again, the Duke-Illinois game, penalties matter. They sent out 2 dudes with the same number when Illinois was getting ready to punt, give them a fresh set of downs to go and score. Like that, those are backbreakers. And that was a big knock on Mac Brown, just not being prepared. And so far, after 2 games, I don't think I'm giving you a hot take to say that North Carolina has not looked prepared, which is kind of an odd thing for Bill Belichick. And here's where we're at. Versus TCU, it was 3 penalties for 25 yards. Not bad. I think most people understood the reason why they lost that game was
the turnovers, not the penalties. Yeah.
And then against Charlotte, they had 5 for 55. Again, not terrible, but also not great because you're just allowing the other team to extend some drives. Mac last year, this is why I put this out there. So 3 for 25 against TCU, 5 for 55 against Charlotte. Mac, first 2 games of last year versus Minnesota, 3 penalties for 45 yards. And then against Charlotte, it was 8 penalties for 67 yards. In 2023, against South Carolina, it was 7 for 49 yards. And then versus App, they had cut it down from the year before, 5 for 60 yards.
Well, not all penalties are created equal.
They're not.
In either. That's the thing you have to go back and look at. Those are the kind of things that drive Belichick crazy. Pre-snap penalties they're poison.
Yes.
Okay? We have been fortunate in the triangle. Yes, you and I have termed the concept of triangle good, which may sound like an insult to outsiders, but there's something to it.
As Zach pointed out in the YouTube comments, if anything is to be learned, it doesn't matter what these schools do, how much they spend, they will always be all caps triangle good. We have data that's indisputable for the last 50 years.
There's different ways to go about it too.
Yes.
We've been fortunate in this area to have David Cutcliffe, who went by the general Nealon maxims, which are make the other team make more mistakes.
Yeah.
The team who makes the fewest mistakes wins the football game. I think it's his second maxim. Okay. We were fortunate to have Jim Grobe, and I think Jim Grobe may have spoiled us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not old enough to remember Jim Grobe, ask your dad or ask your uncle or ask your aunt.
Or ask us.
Or ask us. Because there was a very specific way that Jim Grobe won football games, and he did it without a star quarterback.
Yeah.
It was with a defense that did bent but did not break. It was with an offense that was old and could run the football, and it was with outstanding special teams. Sam Swank, to this day, ask anybody who watched Sam Swank make a lifetime killing against the Wolfpack. go back through any of those games on the yellow pad, and Sam Swank's name's written all over them.
Yeah.
They won an ACC championship in 05 with an unbelievable kicker, an opportunistic defense, and an offense that did not make mistakes. So you and I can watch a team, no penalties, no nonsense, no late hits, no shenanigans. Don't beat yourself. No risky passes, understanding game management.
And what have they?
We have not seen that from Carolina. We have not.
The other thing we haven't seen out of Carolina, and why I find it, I can't shake the feeling that outside of the TCU game, these next few games, what we saw against Charlotte, what we'll see against Richmond, what we'll see against Central Florida, which I think is a Fox game right now. Basically, the games leading up to the Clemson game. I hate to say this, but I can't shake this feeling that they're using these games as preseason games. We're figuring things out. That Belichick is looking at the long game here, and I'm going to figure this stuff out in real time. Again, I don't know. While I maintain,
buddy, he's got 10 games left. I don't know what the fucking long game is.
While I maintain, just follow me here. I get what you're saying because I don't necessarily disagree, but I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Recruiting, Joe.
Right, I know. I keep telling you, like, you just flipped the guy. You just flipped the guy. For him or his kid, I don't know. Or for John Summerall.
Buddy, his kid is not going to be there either.
What I'm trying to understand and figure out is, all right, you know,
I lost you. I got you at the long game.
You got me with the long game thing. You're right. It's like I'm watching them offensively, and you can kind of still tell that they're just trying to figure out what their identity is. I know
they're not impressive. They're not creative offensively
at all.
They've had 2 good drives. So I will be taking on Saturday night, first drive touchdown.
Okay.
But other than that,
I don't know. So are you using these games at the expense of the loss or flirting with a loss to understand what you got, work these things out, have game tape like you would a preseason, and then when you get the Clemson game, that's when they pour it out. Then we'll really see the Belichick. Or is this just what it is? Belichick seems over it. I'm trying.
No. They're bailing water. They're bailing water is what they're doing.
I know.
And again, who did this? You did this to yourself by changing over your roster after the spring. Like, you had to have some value out of the spring.
No,
they got no value.
They got no value out of the spring. And I know Andrew Jones over at Tar Heel 24/7 has pointed this out. You know, it's pretty evident that what other college programs are doing in August was not being done at UNC, and that's all coming home to roost. We're talking about ACC football all the time. When we talk about ACC football, it's brought to you by our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out at bloominblinds.com. That's INblinds.com. Take the G out. Bloominblinds.com. Chris is going to make sure that you're taken care of. 10 or more treatments, you'll get 10% off. And it's not just for the house. You got an office, you're trying to do presentations, you got the glare of the sun, all that kind of stuff. You can take care of it with some automation. So check them out, bloominblinds.com. You go to the comments here. What do we got here? Oh, from Bodie. Over under how many Roback shirts Chili owns? Minus 25.
Total Roback items. Yeah, we're close, but not
You're getting
shirts.
There? You're getting there? No. All right. So before we get into the DraftKings goodness, the rest of the ACC. Well, let's actually start with NC State Wake Forest tonight. It has not moved. NC State's still a 7-point favorite.
7. Yeah, I'll give out one of my plays of the week. I moved State to 6, and I moved ECU to 6.
Okay.
ECU plays at Coastal Carolina Saturday night, and I parlayed them.
Gotcha.
So you're fudging their number up to about minus 140, minus 150, and then you parlay them together, and it's a nice little number.
I am not seeing the North Carolina Richmond game on DraftKings right now.
It's one AA opponent. You should get it the day of the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, you've got the Duke Tulane game, essentially a pick 'em. Tulane a home favorite at minus 1.5.
I like Duke in this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I love a team that will rebound. I think Manny's at that point in his career where when you lose like that, you're embarrassed and you bounce back the next week.
I think
Mensah, I think it's kind of set up for a little storybook there for him.
This one's interesting as well. Georgia Tech is hosting Clemson.
You already know how I feel about this game.
Clemson's only a 3-point favorite
Sir,
on the road.
Listen, I know there's a lot of people out there. This little line opened at 7.5. There are a lot of people out there fading the Tigers right now, and I get it. They were not good against Troy.
This is classic.
They were a little bit deflated after losing to LSU and playing a no-name team at home at noon. Yeah. Where have I seen that before? I'm not. And now you're questioning the Tigers. That's exactly when Dabo sprints down the hill, throws up 2 birds, and says, "Fuck you. We're still Clemson."
Meanwhile, South Florida is trying to go 3 for 3.
Boy,
They're
that
at
is
Miami.
asking a lot.
Miami is a 17.5
I
point
know that
favorite.
number's huge.
That's too big
because
for me,
the
given
book-
what we've seen. And Mario Cristobal's still the head coach last time I checked.
The book is saying no.
Don't do it.
The book is saying take the Canes because they feel like maybe the Bulls and the adult film community that is based in Tampa celebrated after their big win over the Gators.
We're sitting here giving you the lines. I'm getting all that stuff from DraftKings, and we're going over college. You can do single game parlays. You can just do the straight up picks. You can do whatever you want at DraftKings. And with the NFL tonight as well, we got Thursday night football. DraftKings,
You and your
Sportsbook.
pack and pack. You're
I know.
ready.
It's the pack in the pack tonight. I did see that single game parlay where you can put the pack and the Packers together on DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. So from first touchdown score, anytime TD props, in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity, and it's all there for you at DraftKings. And if you have not gone with DraftKings yet, if you're a new customer, well, here's what you do. You bet $5, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, you'll score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code OG25. Again, that's OG25. You'll get $200 off in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. With DraftKings, the crown is yours. In fact, I'm actually looking at a no sweat bet right now. You get a bonus bet back if your bet loses with tonight's Commanders-Packers game. And like I said, let me see what the deal is with this NC State Wake Forest game. Let me look at my single game parlays if it's still there. Yes, the Thursday night madness. Pack to win by 14. Green Bay to win by 14. So if you're about that pack in the pack, or hey, you know what? Maybe you are an old school regional Commanders fan. You still call them by their old name. Well, guess what? They've got a why not us parlay. Wake Forest to straight up win, and the Commanders to straight up win. That's plus 738. Who says no? $5 gang on that bad boy.
I do.
Fair enough. DraftKings, use that promo code OG25. Bet $5. You're part of that $5 gang. You'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place that $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-977-77 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees apply in Illinois, may apply in Illinois. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. I'm doing this live, baby. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
I'm confused.
What?
Do the fees apply in Illinois or not?
The fees may apply
in Illinois.
In Illinois. May.
Housekeeping. You max headroom now.
And the internet connection is good. Big thanks to Inovana. They bring you housekeeping.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
All right, so next week we are going to be at the Rialto for Balls versus Cancer. The Sklar brothers are the headliner. We will be there. We're going to bring back You're Full of Shit, Giglio. You could be Team Chip Patterson or Team Mike Maniscalco. They're going to be hanging out with us as well. Here's the deal. We've raised a lot of money for the American Cancer Society with Balls versus Cancer. Awesome cause. But now we're actually looking for seat fillers. Like straight up, we're looking for seat fillers.
Okay.
So if you would like to go on us, email me. theoggoesdigital@gmail.com. theoggoesdigital@gmail.com. Email me your name It'll be a +1. You and a +1.
Nice.
So again, all you got to do, you can hang out, free ticket, buy some OG Light, give some money to the American Cancer Society, have a good time, participate in your foolish Giglio, all on us. All you got to do is email me, theoggoesdigital@gmail.com. Give me your name. We'll give you the +1. I'll send that off to the door. So you just got to show up and you're good to go. Sounds like a good time? Sounds like a good time. So do that. theoggoesdigital@gmail.com. Big thanks to NC Grill Rescue. It is prime grill season. Ladies and gentlemen, the weather's getting better. You got the tailgating. You want to make sure that that thing is running at tip-top shape, right? This is what NC Grill Rescue does. It could be that you've got your outdoor tailgate set up, right? And you want to make sure that thing's cooking just right. Or you've got an outdoor kitchen. The last thing you want to do with that outdoor kitchen is just let it deteriorate over time. Upkeep, maintenance, that's important. Why would you let that investment just literally rust away? You don't want that. NC Grill Rescue can get that thing right back up to like the day you bought it. So check them out, ncgrillrescue.com. Do we have a rescue of the week, Joe?
No need to bury your barbecue. Call NC Grill Rescue.
I
Now
need
it's
a
time for
rescue.
your NC Grill Rescue of the week.
I need a grill rescue from doing the DraftKings legal. As Evan points out, every time Ovies does the DK terms, I want to do the "You've made us proud" pose.
I have told you to record it.
No,
I can record it,
No.
and then you could use it.
absolutely not.
But it feels like now
Absolutely
it's a challenge. This is like you trying to. I mean, by whatever year you knew Gordon's numbers, you knew
Yeah,
your
by heart.
MLS. You probably still do.
No, I forgot because he changed it.
Yeah,
He changed
but
it.
you knew all
He
that
changed
stuff, and
it.
I used to marvel. I'm like, how are you doing this ad read right now
Well,
without a script?
well-
And you had it in your brain. The never nudes.
Right,
You had the never
forget
nudes
those,
down
man.
pat, man.
Never forget those.
Almost nudes. What were they?
it,
Simply Nudes?
No, it was called. It was not the Never Nude. It was Nearly Nude.
Nearly nude.
And they're
Nearly.
And you know what? They're not advertising with us, so
I don't know. That's not that brand name.
right. But I think some people figure it out. Regardless, ncgrillrescue.com. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority.
Don't be nude cleaning your grill.
Don't do it.
Let the professionals be clothed and come to your house and clean it.
And you want to be nude in your backyard, though?
No, you don't, because you get chewed up.
Not unless you use Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Hit them up, bugsbite.com, and you can put it to the nude test.
I was going to say, that seems like you're tempting fate just a little bit too much.
Hayes is like, are you sure you want to stand in your backyard nude, Joe? Are you sure about that? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, check them out, bugsbite.com. And we are not too far away. We're at Longleaf today. We're not too far away from the Person Street location at Two Roosters. I might be going to Two Roosters when we're done here. Got to get that pint of the fluffernutter. I'm all about that. And then I can watch NC State and Wake Forest tonight and eat that whole pint in one sitting, Joe.
You got to do it, man.
I'm all about it.
The fluffernutter is, I'm mad. You'll be mad. You're going to eat it and be mad that we didn't think of the fluffernutter.
There's always next year.
Yep.
There's always next year. So check it out. TwoRoosters.com. They got their rotating flavors. You can find out what they are at TwoRoosters.com. Let's take a break from us being live currently at Longleaf Swine in downtown Raleigh. Let's go back in time because right now I am talking to Jeremy Markovich. NC Rabbit Hole is the newsletter. Jeremy, you made some time to come on down to Eford Studios in downtown
I
Raleigh
love it
today.
here. It's cozy.
It's just one way to describe our studio. For those who are unfamiliar with your newsletter, NC Rabbit Hole, what can we? You've been a guest on the podcast before. Some people might remember you from the time we had fun with Gravedigger going across the Sound in the Outer Banks. So for those who are unfamiliar with NC Rabbit Hole, what are you doing with the newsletter?
I basically have been a journalist for a very long time. And so you build up the journalistic skills of how do you research stuff? Who do you find that knows information? How do you tell a story? And I use that to focus on things that are like the smallest little things that are just like, don't matter, but you go way deep on them and you find stories there anyways. It is sort of like, I don't know if you remember the old like Conan O'Brien sketch where it's like Frankenstein wastes a minute of your time.
Yes.
And he's like, Frankenstein, what you got for me? And he's like waving you along, like really excited. And he points at like a pipe in a closet.
Right.
Like it's kind of like that. I hope I kind of deliver a little bit more than that, but it is on that wavelength.
Have you thought about renaming your newsletter Jeremy Markovich Finds Out?
I have thought about it. I did, by the way, just change my logo for the first time ever, and it is now basically the state of North Carolina as a monster truck.
Oh, I love it.
So that is, I did at least make that slight upgrade. Maybe we could do it a different name.
All right. So your latest newsletter, I know you published this last week. I had put it on social media, but I thought that we could do our best Pablo Torre Finds Out impersonation into doing an NC Rabbit Hole Finds Out. The genesis of this goes into our summer protocols. Joe Giglio and I had done a few features called A Brief History of Triangle Good, just trying to illustrate the point that, hey guys, it's all Spider-Man pointing meme around here, okay? And I had to go back through my notes. I found it in my notebook what exactly was going on here. You know, I was going through things like Mike Patrick talking about Sidney Lowe, the Henderson Hansborough fallout, and things like that. The classic Butch Davis, Joe Giglio, Sam I Am back and forth. The Tom O'Brien triple play, and I was like, okay, where did we get to John Bunting? And I think what ended up happening was I was illustrating a point that all these UNC coaches have all kind of ultimately wound up the same, except that John Bunting, because he loved Carolina so much, he played for North Carolina, understood the dynamics of the rivalries better than most coaches that have come through Carolina. But the funny thing about John, I'm getting all my coaches confused. The funny thing about John Bunting is there's not a lot of media of him available on the internet. And I was trying to go and find his farewell press conference where he was basically like, F all y'all, you'll read it in the book. Okay. Because he went out as a winner. Like he beat State, he beat Duke, right? So the only thing I could find on YouTube was this old clip of him doing Aye Zigga Zoomba. And this was posted by somebody named NC Scuba. He's got 4 subscribers.
Good for him.
14,000 views, something that was posted 18 years ago. Now, that doesn't line up with John Bunting's time. This was posted after he'd been let go. So I don't know the context of why this is still floating on the internet. It's clearly ripped from camcorder footage because you see the date. This was at 6:14 p.m. on a random day. John Bunting's wearing a shirt over a polo. And he drops this.
Aye Zigga Zoomba, Zoomba, Zoomba. Aye Zigga Zoomba, Zoomba, say. Aye Zigga Zoomba, Zoomba, Zoomba. Aye Zigga Zoomba, Zoomba, say. Rolling down, you Target Warriors. Rolling down, fight for Carolina.
Now, context. This is something in the 30 years that I have lived here, Aye Zigga Zoomba was nonsense to me. This is something that somebody of John Bunting's age, and when he played at Carolina, this sounds like something that was said by people who would go to a campus rumpus, you know, like, hey, Sonny, we're going to go on down to the frat house. We're going to have a good old time. And we're going to maybe watch some football. Aye Zigga Zoomba.
Soda fizz time, everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Back when they put cocaine in Coke. Like, that's how long ago this was.
That's old. Yeah.
That's so old. So I just assumed it was nonsense. It's something that Carolina does, and I moved on with my life. But this activated something in your brain when you were listening to the 25 sound bites that explained the last 25 years of Triangle Good.
Yes. I'm glad I can assign blame to you for this. I would say, and it wasn't the whole month, but for about a month, this consumed me, unbeknownst to you. So I did not know. I'm here to maybe punish you for this. Maybe I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But like I heard this song, and which is like it is like part of the official Carolina like songbook, right?
Yes.
Like this is on the website. You know, this people sing it like it's in old stuff clips you'll read. And that is not why I know it. So my history is I've been in North Carolina for about 20 years. And before that, I grew up in Ohio. And the Ohio in me, when I heard this played on your podcast, was like, that is stolen valor. That UNC has stolen somebody else's song.
Okay.
Because that song does not belong to UNC. To me, that song is firmly the property of Bowling Green State University.
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green. And so there's this. I have had friends that went to Bowling Green. I used to date somebody that was like a Bowling Green grad. I have colleagues that went to Bowling Green.
Oh, I have a friend who went to Bowling Green. I've driven through Bowling Green, and
it's flat.
It's super flat.
It's windy.
Shout out to Russ, and I texted him. I'm like, "Hey man, I'm in your old stomping grounds." He's like, "That's the old stomping grounds for a lot of people in Ohio because that's where you party."
That is it. Yeah, there's a lot of party schools, but that is like the flat. Like I went to Ohio U, like where it's like the lumpy, kind of party school. That's like the Northwest Ohio in the middle of farm country. Nothing to block the wind. It's going to feel like an icy hurricane in January when you're trying to go outside for a smoke break, kind of a place.
I got you.
And they if you it's a parlor trick. If you know somebody from Bowling Green and you say, "Hey, Aye Zigga Zoomba," they might like drop what they're doing, kind of like Pee Wee Herman in the like where like he's in the phone booth and he's like, "How can you prove you're in Texas?" And he starts singing the stars at night. They will probably just drop what they're doing and start singing Aye Zigga Zoomba. Like it is like entrenched into everything they do. Like the university calls it their magic words. They have been singing this song for like 80 years. They hired Eddie George to be their football coach. They like the whole team like in April surrounded him on the football field and they're bouncing up and down and they're singing Aye Zigga Zoomba. The message board is called Aye Zigga Zoomba. There's a bar in Bowling Green called Ziggy Zoomba.
So what's interesting is because
it's everything.
Inside Carolina, one of the websites that covers UNC, they have a general chat board. It's been there forever.
Yeah.
And it's called the Zigga Zoomba Lounge.
Interesting.
So this is something that is entrenched with UNC people
as
well. Well.
It's the old school UNC people, but it is like very much a current day Bowling Green thing. And I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. Like, how is it? And like now, look, I understand.
Well, I mean, this is before the internet.
Yeah, this is before the internet.
So like this would be like it's the old thing is like in radio. It's like, oh, if this morning show in LA is doing it, I can do it back here because who's ever going to hear this radio show in LA?
Yeah, like
so.
Intellectual property was kind of more like a less of a thing back in the day.
Well,
like
you did
Ramsey's heads were used at 5 different universities.
You did an NC Rabbit Hole newsletter on that very thing where you had there was no IP and people could just do the caricatures of the mascots and like the same I mean, we did this with Strut and Stormy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pointing to it. It's in the studio. We have a pennant with the strutting. I call him Thick Boy Stormy. Because of them thighs.
Yeah.
But that is a play on those vintage mascots, but nobody ever had any sort of rights to them.
Nobody cared. Yeah,
nobody
cared. The same guy made them all.
Right.
And also like people ripping off each other's like fight songs is like a thing, especially high schools will take like my high school marching band song was like just like everybody in Ohio was across the field from Ohio State.
But this bothered you.
But this bothered me to the point where like, I'm like, well, okay, if it's Bowling Green and UNC, who else may have used this or who else uses this? The answer is like from my exhaustive research, nobody.
So there's 2 schools.
There's 2. And so I'm like, what the hell? First off, I had like many questions. One is like, what does the song mean? Where did it come from? What's the deal? And then second is like, why is it only at these 2 schools? Like who brought it there? Like what's the connection? And so I looked into the connection and you will be shocked to know that UNC and Bowling Green do not really have much in common. They're like 500 miles apart. UNC very like, the first public university and it's, the Carolina blue and students dress up for like, football games and like Bowling Green is just like flat and windy and everything is taupe and the colors are orange and brown, which by the way, you're like, they stole the colors from the Browns. Actually, the other way around. The Browns were like, I like those Bowling Green colors, and now that's theirs.
Yeah, Bowling Green predates that.
So all of this stuff, like what do they have in common? Like, there's nothing like on the face they have in common. And then I was like, well, maybe they have some kind of old sports tradition that I am not aware. Maybe they in the old timey times.
Was there like a Bowling Green coach that went to UNC?
Yeah, or maybe there's some kind of connection. The answer is like no. They have played each other 3 times in the entire history of both programs. They played men's basketball in '69 in Greensboro. They played, I know this, I'm through this. They played in '82 on Thanksgiving Day in football and 1990 in women's basketball. That is the only 3 times. That is it. 3 times in like 100+ years.
And to be clear, there's not a Bowling Green coach that went over to coach track and field or something.
There could
volleyball.
But in the sports in which you would have a band that would show up and play, I like that song. Like very little history.
Okay,
there.
Gotcha.
So I was like, well, if I don't know, the deal with the actual, there's no connection. What about the song itself? So the song itself, basically, there's not, like, if you Google it, there's not much actually easily Googleable stuff at UNC. At Bowling Green, they're like, okay, there's this guy. He's a returning GI. Came back from World War II in 1946, and he learned this song in Italy when he was fighting with these South African soldiers.
Okay.
And it's like they had taught him this song. And it's like, this is some Zulu war chant. We love it. They sang it all the time. And he came back and he brought it back.
So this is what the song sounds like.
This is the song.
This is on YouTube. This is performed by a gentleman named Joseph Moraes, recorded in 1944, the Zulu Warrior.
Jickamalayo, G. Jickamalayo, G. Wow. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Zayo. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Z. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Zayo. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Z. See him there, the Zulu warrior. See him there, the Zulu chief. See him there, the Zulu warrior. See him there, the Zulu chief.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's the same beat, it's the same rhythm.
Yeah.
You do, and the words are a little different. And so what I end up finding out is this is not a Zulu war chant. This is a song that was sung by British soldiers who were like, colonizing South Africa and fighting against some of these tribes down there.
You mean colonizers were a problem?
Well, there's a long history of that. There's a lot of literature on that.
I would also chalk this up to you and I are around the same age.
Yeah.
And we were raised on like Looney Tunes and things like that. And there's some representation that is problematic by today's standards.
A lot of the second verses of children's songs are like, oh no.
Oh, no. There's a reason why we do not repeat these things. There's a reason why when you watch I said Looney Tunes, you could do Disney as well. I have a collection of the original cartoons, and Leonard Maltin, the old movie critic, has to explain, hey, so this was a representation of Italians at the time.
Yes.
Right? Or like in Looney Tunes, like, yes, this is how, there was blackface in cartoons back in the day. So yeah, I could see where this is something you're fighting in a war, you're in the process of, you got colonization going on, and you see this, and there's a little send up to the culture, if you will.
Yes. So this was like a thing where back there, like we needed, like this is something tribal that we're bringing back from another place, and isn't that interesting? Yeah. And so it kind of came back, and the deal with this song was, it started to spread when all these soldiers came back to England, and so they started singing it at soccer games. The founder of the Boy Scouts actually had served he had been in like South Africa at some point, and he basically creates a Boy Scout song that is this song. Okay. And so it spreads among all the Boy Scouts. Like there's a lot of scouts or campers that even know this song just from singing it at camp.
So how does it get to Bowling Green?
So it gets to Bowling Green because this the song sort of becomes the version you heard was sort of when the song made the jump to America in like the late 1946. Yeah. Earlier than that, this guy who had been, all these GIs start coming home from war, and they go back to wherever, and they asked this guy, his name is Gil Fox, and they said, hey, Gil, we need a song. Can you sing it at the assembly? And Gil's like, what do I got? All right. Oh, I got one. And he sings up this song. And so he brings this song in, he starts singing it, and they're like, this is great. And it was such a hit. They're like, we should change the alma mater to this, and we should do whatever. And like, it becomes more popular over time than the actual fight song of Bowling Green. It's not the official fight song. It's like one of two now. And it shows up at like, there's some movie from 1968 where like, it's about the Detroit Lions, and they get a rookie from Bowling Green to stand up and haze, like they're hazing him by making him sing his fight song. And he gets up and like starts singing Aye Zigga Zoomba. And so it becomes this whole thing, which by the way, the words Aye Zigga Zoomba, this song ends up being sort of like a game of telephone. So you're hearing that earlier version is not, they're not saying Aye Zigga Zoomba. It's like, I did it, it's different.
So this sounds like this sounds like this is like our version of how do kids all across America have the remixed version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yeah. It's,
had a very shiny nose, like a light bulb. Like who brought that to schools? Sort of a thing. So
and so they adapted, like they maybe changed the English part of the song to adapt to whatever, because the original English lyrics were "Hold Him Down, the Swazi Warrior," which that's bad. But then it becomes like roll along, roll them out, and then it becomes like adapted for the Tar Heels
for
sports, or like if you're at a Boy Scout camp and you want to sing about the Scouts or whatever place that you're at.
So what is just a Boy Scout that might have grown up somewhere and got to UNC? Or what?
Yeah. Well, so basically what happened was And by the way, the Aye Zigga Zoomba part, it's like the fa la 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 la's in Deck the Halls. Like it's just filler words. It just sounds vaguely tribal, and they were just like, so like it always changes. So basically, I need to pause for a second on Gil Fox because that's
so he wasn't like a Boy Scout that picked this up.
This was the least interesting thing that Gil Fox ever did.
Oh,
I will say, because he did this, he would then like after he was like a great student, he was into music, he was like he was in the Spirit Club of Bowling Green, that sort of thing, and he graduates in 1948. He actually got married to another student at Bowling Green, and she was like basically was like winning beauty contests back in the day, and they go on to move to New York City to Greenwich Village. And Gil Fox is like, I'm a writer and I'm into a very specific type of writing I would like to be able to do here. And this is like 1950s Greenwich Village, very bohemian, very counterculture, very open sexually to a lot of different things. And so he's like, he finds a guy and he starts writing adult books, and he just starts cranking out like basically erotica paperbacks.
Appropriate term. Cranking out some erotica.
Yeah. He becomes I don't know upon which greatness is measured. But he's certainly had a very long career. He writes more than 100.
Okay.
He's prolific. He gets hired by everybody to do this. He's writing like one a month. He cannot write this stuff out.
He had a very active imagination.
He very much did.
Yeah,
Apparently, he and his wife had open marriage, and they, and also along the way, he has some friends that are in Greenwich Village, and they have him over, and it's like open. People are drinking and smoking pot and do whatever in 1950s Greenwich Village, and they go to the friend's house one night, and they're like hanging out, and they leave, and they're like, whoa, the snow that's coming down, it's all kinds of different colors, and like I just gotta dance, and like they had a really weird, paranoid, fun, crazy night. And it turns out they find out later that like the guys that they knew had drugged him with LSD.
Oh,
and it wasn't just because like let's all have a good time. The guy was an undercover CIA agent running an experiment because the CIA was like into mind control drugs at this point.
Yes.
So they were like, well, how are we gonna like? What happens if we give somebody some LSD? Are they going to confess to everything and tell everything that they know? So the guy set up shop in Greenwich Village and was just like drugging people with LSD and then observing them to find out what happened. It became this major scandal. But like Gil Fox, it was one of the people. Okay. And later he was like, "Are you mad about this?" And he's kind of like,
"Nah, man, that's cool."
It was kind of, it was a cool trip I had,
Yeah.
And so, anyways.
Maybe I should write some porn on LSD.
But I mean, you know what? Maybe you found your calling.
Yeah, baby.
So and then he ends up, he goes on, he retires to like California, and he just basically, I talked to his son. He's like, he's just gonna watch TV for the latter part of his life.
Okay.
And so, the official story that I'm going to get to the connection, but the official story at UNC was that like this actually cheerleader who was this big time swimmer and diver. His name was Norm Spear. Dad was a syndicated sports writer in like the 30s. His mom was a vaudeville star. He becomes this incredible swimmer and diver.
But this is not Gil Fox.
This is not Gil Fox. This guy named Norm Spear.
Okay.
His story is that he goes off to war. He comes back and he's like, where are you going to go to college? Like, you're going to be a swim and diver. He unfortunately missed the Olympics, but where are you going to go? What are you going to do now? And he's like, I'm picking UNC. He goes to UNC and becomes an all-American swimmer and diver. He's really good. The more memorable thing about him is he becomes like head cheerleader for like 2 years.
Okay.
Is like wants to be on Broadway, big time performer, his mom's into that sort of thing. And becomes super popular. He invents the Duke UNC Victory Bell. He is the guy that like created that.
Oh.
He created these cardboard stunts where like, have you seen like an old timey things where like they make shapes in the stands?
Yep.
He brings that to UNC. So like they would like hold up card one.
Yeah. For the youngins out there that might be listening, card stunts were a big deal.
Yes.
Even when I was at NC State and when some of you might've been at UNC, because that's how, if you had a national game, like for instance, tonight, NC State and Wake Forest playing on ACC network, right? But Thursday night football used to be a big deal. That was like a marquee matchup for college football. You were the only game in town and you were the spotlight. And in order to go viral or show out how great your fans were, you would do these card stunts. And sometimes they pulled them off, sometimes they're not. But I did not realize this guy brought those card stunts to the Triangle.
Yeah, they were like a West Coast thing, and it became to UNC, and it was a huge deal, and it lasted for like 30 years until the students got mad at games and started throwing them on the field.
Yeah,
but
that's a problem.
But that was what he brought there.
Sure.
And then, like, you know, before a Wake Forest game in 1949, they're having a pep rally, and Norm Spears like, I got a new song for y'all, and he starts singing the song.
Okay.
And then it becomes very popular. And so in 1950, it's already in the Carolina Handbook. It's like, this is the thing, sing it to the tune of the Zulu Warrior. You know this song.
Yeah.
And it like lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts. And so I was like, well, that's an amazing coincidence. Like, those are the only two schools. And the one thing that I found was, this was like very hard to find, but then it lined up once I found it. After Gil Fox graduated from Bowling Green in 1948, he enrolls in graduate school in North Carolina. He goes to UNC. And so he shows up at UNC.
Mm-hmm.
He is into fencing, so he's doing some sports.
Okay.
He's a music major. He is obviously a performer. Norm Spears, performer. They're into the same sort of things. And then like magically this song like ends up being beloved. And so like I have exhausted every avenue to find out like, okay, do they show up together at the same time? Do they whatever like that? But they
they had to run in the same circles.
They ran in the same circles. They were, you know, like, and like they were both like way into school spirit, and they were both like all of these things, like they really line up.
Okay.
And so I cannot say for certain, but it is like the same guy, very likely, like went to Bowling Green, like, here's some crazy song on a whim I'm going to sing for y'all. And they're like, we love it. Oh my God, that's our official song. It's our whole identity. And then he's like, he graduates and he goes to UNC and they're like, we need a new song. And he's like, I got one for you. And then they start singing at UNC like, oh my God, we love this song too. And they become the only two schools that use it. Like it's just like this wild coincidence, but it's just watching how things used to spread back in the day.
Yeah.
Is kind of wild. And it's also wild to me that like, I would say generations of UNC and Bowling Green students, alumni, teachers, faculty, everything like that have just been sort of like singing this song. Like it just becomes like you strip away all the context, all whatever. And it's just like, oh yeah, I guarantee you like hundreds of thousands of people probably sing the song and have no idea like what it means, where it came from, who brought it, what's happening.
I want to go back to Gil Fox for a second.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to really crystallize the timeline here.
Yes.
So he leaves Bowling Green, he does grad school at UNC, and then he goes to New York?
And then he goes to New York.
And that's when he starts writing porn and he gets hit with LSD and then moves to California.
And his wife, by the way, the reason why he came to UNC is because his wife's family was from Chapel Hill. So,
okay.
So his wife had already graduated. She was kind of just hanging out, working here and while he did his thing at UNC.
Did you track down any of the surviving family of Gil Fox?
I did. I tracked down his son.
Okay.
And his son basically said at some point, like Gil Fox, by the way, gave all the reason why we know all this is because like later on in his life, he gave like 2 interviews, one about the LSD, one about the softcore porn. And so, and so that was it. But like, I'm like, I asked his son who's out in California, like, what did your dad ever talk about this?
What's your dad's legacy? Doing LSD.
He was like,
kind of blowing the whistle on CIA, LSD experimentation.
He was kind of like, I knew the guy who was just kind of a guy from the neighborhood. I didn't he was like 9 when all this was happening. And so he's just like, yeah, I remember that guy, but I don't remember any of the LSD stuff. Like, why would you? You were 9.
And also, men didn't talk about their feelings back then. No,
they really didn't. They had to, you know, now men go on podcasts, talk about their feelings. It used to be, I guess you just talk to interviewers.
No, you would push it down and you would just raw dog life, Jeremy.
Yeah,
that's how you go about things.
That's the way when men were men.
Back when men were men, you just LSD to forget.
LSD to forget things. Or maybe bring them back up. It depends on like where you want to,
or just have a debilitating drinking problem. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff to do.
But at some point, like I asked, like he's like, my dad was actually pretty private. Like, tell me about the war, Dad. And Dad's like, nope.
That's that tracks.
That's very, very much normal.
That tracks.
So like, I don't want to talk about the war. I don't really talk. You know, he's like, I don't really want to talk about like, you know, my career.
But I got this banger song.
And at some point, they were like, I guess Bowling Green had maybe tried to contact him, like, you should come back. Like, we want to honor you. And he's like, nah.
So, if the best we can say to go back to this, the best we can do is assume that these 2 individuals who both were in the war.
Yes.
And had heard this song at some point in time. Gil Fox tells, who's the other gentleman's name?
Norm Spear.
Norm Spear. I have to assume at some point they're at a party or they're just within their little athletic circles. and they probably strike up a conversation like, "Oh, where'd you serve? Oh, where'd you go? Yada yada yada."
Yeah.
And then they have this connection through the song, and then Gil Fox says, "Hey, man, I'm not telling you to do this, but I got a banger that might work with some of the other stuff that you're doing."
Yeah.
And then it becomes this. So that's what we can assume.
Yes.
But here's my thing.
Okay.
That I'm struggling with.
Mhm.
You've been here 25 years?
20 years.
20 years.
Mhm.
You've never heard that before. from
I have
Carol. That was
not.
so this podcast was the first time you heard that.
The first time. I had never heard it before.
And it's not like you haven't gone to UNC games.
No, I mean, my wife is a UNC grad, and I asked her, I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard this?" She was like, "This sounds kind of familiar." Like,
Interesting.
it is kind of like I think it is one of those things. It is kind of faded over time.
Yeah, it has.
Because I think like to me, like the Carolina fight song, when I die, I'm Tar Heel dead. Go to hell, Duke. Yeah, like that has like more like specific. I mean, emotional. There's some ad lib Duke hate in there, but like it's got a lot more emotion to it. And again, like Bowling Green is Bowling Green, and like they have like we have this weird song, and it's kind of ours, and so they've leaned into it versus UNC has. I don't know, other things going on.
Well, all the triangle schools have their own little idiosyncrasies. Like at NC State, you've got, was it Duke is puke, Wake is fake. Yeah. The team I hate is no. It's the other way around. It's Carolina, right? It's Duke is puke, Wake is fake. The team I hate is NC State. Like that you drop that on a student today. They're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right. So there's all, and then of course, like you talk about the NC State fight song. It's like just a remix of various other fight songs. So that all that stuff makes a lot of sense. The part that I was struggling with is that being here 20 years, you had not heard that before.
No.
When it was still 20 years ago, still being used by John Bunting.
Yeah. It was.
I mean, you've gone to North Carolina Wake Forest games. I know this.
I have. I have been in the stands at basketball, football games.
Yeah.
I had just not heard it. Or if I had not heard it, it had not been like them singing the song. Maybe it was the marching band playing the tune and da-da-da. But
and you just hadn't really picked up on it.
As soon as he said Aye Zigga Zoomba, I was triggered. And I was like, nope. You've activated the sleeper cell. You activated the Ohio sleeper cell.
The next thing you know.
And now I'm like, man, did I actually go so deep too? Like, did I go too deep on this?
Well, this is what I was going to close with.
Yeah.
This is how we will determine whether or not you went a little too far on this one.
Okay.
Specifically to Gil Fox.
Yeah.
Who went on to have an erotic literature career.
Yeah.
Did you find any of his work?
I did. Yeah.
Did you read any of his work?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, then. Yes, I can say definitively that you went a little too far.
It's pretty tame.
By 50s standards.
By 50s standards, pretty wild. But like it would be like like I don't know, like romance books at my my grandma's house that she had like laying around. You're like,
I'll go on Reddit, and there's a subreddit called The Way We Were, which is a fascinating subreddit, and they'll show you pictures of like women being escorted off the beach because they were revealing too much. So I got to imagine that erotica in the 50s was a little bit different.
This was like, hey kids, do you know what Times Square used to be? do you know what they used to do in Times Square? Like what was entertainment there? It wasn't the weird dude in the Elmo costume. Because now it was those books being sold.
I'll get fed a TikTok or a reel, and it's like it's basically book humor, and it's like, oh, do you have any fantasy romance novels? And it's like, well, which one do you want? You want the one where they do it with a dragon, the one where they do it with an elf? Do you want it with like it's like that kind of stuff? It's like my guess that stuff wasn't really being made back in the 50s.
No, it was. So literally the guy that I will close with this. This is the most like repressive, like, man, things have changed sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because always like his books were for men, but there was a lot of lesbian books being written, like a lot of lesbian scenes in these books.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how did you get the ideas for these things back in the day? And he said, well, I would watch a movie, and I would watch a romance scene in a movie, and then I would just take out the man and put in a woman, and that was the story.
That's smart.
I mean, yeah,
just like he took out the whole Zulu warrior stuff and put Bowling Green in.
There you go. It's adaptation. You know your audience, and you adapt to what they want.
If you learn anything from today's segment as we went down this North Carolina rabbit hole, everything is a remix.
Nothing is original.
Everything's a remix.
Yes.
Jeremy Markovich, NC Rabbit Holes, the newsletter. I highly recommend you subscribe to it. It is a fascinating read. And where you go with some of the stuff, I'm just like, what? Yeah. And this one I had to have you in studio because I just wanted to apologize to you personally, because I know what it's like when you go, all right, because that's what the 25 sound bites was for me. That's honestly what it was. It's just like I spent too much time
Mhm.
going down the YouTube rabbit holes to find clips, because part of this is important in that a lot of this stuff is just disappearing off the net.
Yeah.
Remember when we were sold the promise of the internet being an archive for everything? Well, what happens when you shut down a server?
Yeah.
Goes away. A lot of this stuff's going away.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me, like the reason why I could do this story is because people used to write things down. And
Not
then
anymore.
And then they saved them. So God bless for happening at a time where I could go back and find everything.
Which means in about 60 to 70 years, somebody might find this audio file because there's nothing written anymore.
But we're going to press it on a gold record like we're putting it on Voyager.
Let's do it.
We're going to save it for all time.
All right, Jeremy, thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks.
I hope you all enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. If you're watching on YouTube right now, as we're in OG live mode right now, thanks to our friends at the Butcher Market, Giglio is in the process of selling a hat. That's what we do when we come out here to our live spots here at Longleaf Swine. We got hats, we got stickers, we got all that kind of stuff. So head that out. So we get this money coming in, right? We got the revenue coming in. Joe and I do operate on a pretty basic economic level as a two-person LLC, right? We're not asking for government grants or anything like that. You might find yourself in that situation. You might be a small business owner. You've got your LLC. You're looking for government grants to advance what you're trying to do, but you're in no way, shape, or form a CFO. That's where Brassfield Accounting comes in. A fractional CFO. You don't need a full-time CFO. You just need somebody that can make sure that everything that you're doing is on the up and up, making sure all the papers are signed correctly, that you're following all the protocols. Even though we do live in an era where no rules matter, we care about rules on this program. And Brassfield Accounting is going to make sure that's the case.
We abide by rules on this program.
We do. Man's got to live by a code, Joe.
That's right.
So brassfieldaccounting.com. Check him out, brassfieldaccounting.com. Yes, he is in Homer, Alaska. But as you've discovered when it comes to this podcast, we're worldwide, baby. So check them out, brassfieldaccounting.com. I've been doing a lot of running around as of late. Maybe you're running around a lot too for a variety of reasons. You might need to pick up a smoothie. You might need a bowl on your way home. You need something good to fill you up, not junk. Happy Inhale. Check them out. Download the app. Use that promo code OG25. You'll save 25% off your first order.
Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy Inhale.
It's funny. I've been thinking about turning Happy Inhale spots into my hockey breaks, my youth hockey breaks, since I will be, once I'm done here, running back to go get Jacob, to go take him to do some more hockey stuff. So that's my hockey break, if you will. Again, check out Happy Inhale app. Download that app. Use that promo code OG25. What are you laughing at? I know. I signed up for it.
I need the jacket, and
I know.
you signed up for it.
Look.
Hey, on a serious question, did you get a new jacket this year?
No. I got the jacket last year. So you get the jacket every 2 years. So if I'm a man, I don't think I'm going to be a manager again next year, but we'll see. Never say never.
He says in September.
Never say never. Never say never.
He says.
Just like never say never when it comes to your home and auto, right? Like you're thinking, oh man, I got great rates. What do I need? Why do I got to talk to Matt Davis at State Farm? Well, because you might not be saving money like the way you should. So contact him today. 919-779-8277. InsureGarner.com is the website. Big thanks to our friends at Hometown Realty. MyHTR.com is the website. With Hometown Realty, you're going to get an actual read on what the housing market is. You might be taking walks around the neighborhood and you see houses that have been sitting on the market for a really long time. Like, what's the deal here? What's going on? And you might be tempted to think, well, I'll just take an all-cash offer. No. You're still leaving money on the table. So contact our friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Big thanks to our friends at Whitaker and Hamer as well. WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer. Attorneys and counselors at law. You go to that website. You can find your small business needs, contracts, etc. Maybe you enter into a fantasy football arrangement and there's some sort of loser has to do ... bet. We'll put that in contract writing. They can help you out with that. WH.lawyer. And of course, Rowback, because Joe's always in a Rowback. Do you sleep in the Rowback, Joe?
Actually, I do. The hoodie. I don't like blankets, so I like to sleep in my hoodie.
For real right now?
Mm-hmm.
See, I have a weighted blanket. So does that act like a weighted blanket with a Rowback?
It's light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
that's
don't have to use a blanket.
even in the summer when it's hot.
Even in the summer when it's hot.
You and me, we ain't the same. But you know what is the same? The quality across the board, whether it's the hoodie, the shorts, the polos. They even got dresses too for that special someone in your life. Contact them. Rowback.com. OG20 is the promo code. Again, save 20%.
Now that would be.
What's this?
That might be onto something there.
Ooh. Ooh, I like that. I like that. That's good stuff. I would that would be kind of funny if that were the case. So again, use that promo code OG20, save 20% off your order, or you could contact Gordon Miller at Miller Lending.
Ooh, yeah,
Call
you can
him
get a free one
directly
from me
at 919-447-3377 or millerlending.com/theog. You take that thing to close, you'll get a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket, and Joe will send you a rowback. Gordon Miller from Miller Lending. Has Joe sent you a rowback yet, Gordon?
No.
Yeah, we did. Here's a zip.
Well, you didn't send it to me. You handed it to me.
Oh, okay. Oh, now we're being technical. I see what's up.
And I wore that thing to I think it was to Vegas for March Madness, and
yeah,
I kept walking up to people. I kept pointing to it. I was walking around like this, and I wanted to be found by somebody in Raleigh, and it was a bad crowd that weekend.
Well, as I'm finding out, rowbacks like worldwide, man. Like it's not just like a Raleigh thing or a North Carolina thing. So you're just gonna be finding people rocking that stuff all day. All right, you're still wearing Detroit gear after the season opener, huh?
It's 1 week. It's only 1 week. Until we're mathematically eliminated. It's a 17 game schedule now. It's the Bears Sunday. If I will say though, and I texted Joe this, but if the Lions were to lose to the Bears and Ben Johnson at Ford Field, I'll be in studio moving forward. I'll get out of here. I'll sell my tickets. I'll be done. I can't. There was too much buildup. I don't want to give any credit to these coaches, but really bad game plan against the Packers, and we'll see how good the Packers are tonight because they've got Washington now. So either Green Bay's really good and they'll blow out Washington, or Green Bay's average and Detroit's just really mediocre to start with. That's all.
From Zach, who I think is like literally watching from a Longleaf bench over here. Gordon, are you happy that the Packers exposed the weakness of the Lions this season, this early?
Packers fan.
I just thought, to be honest, so the O-line had 2 starters change. So
yeah.
You've got to have time for the O-line to blend. I thought that, starting a rookie guard didn't work very well. There were holes that just got massively opened by Tate Ratledge just going the wrong direction. And if you go the wrong direction and the quarterback is straight wide open now, play's not going to work. So, a lot to fix, I would say. But playing at Ford Field will say a lot. If Goff and the Lions don't put up 500 yards, then I'm going to worry about it a lot. Because we play Baltimore next week at Baltimore.
Speaking of directions, up, down, the same interest rates. I was actually talking to somebody about this. Where are the rates right now? There seems to be some sort of anticipation that the rates could get down in the 5s again or something like that. Like where are we? Is he like I'm in a situation that is like from way back 5 years ago, right? And I know there's a lot of people that are in a position where like I'm at like a 3 or whatever it is. I've honestly forgotten. But I do know of situations where like, look, your house, your family's growing, you're bursting at the seams of your house, and you're probably looking at a house. And I know that impacts the housing market, but there's been some talk about the rates coming down a little bit, maybe into the 5s or in that range. Where do things stand right now?
Yeah, so where we're at right now is the rates that are available today are actually the lowest for the year. So we're sitting right around 6 1/4 now, and back in January we were around 7 3/8.
Okay.
So we are down over a full point from the peak highs earlier this year, which is giving people excitement that with the Fed meeting next week, they're going to cut rates. And again, the Fed cutting rates doesn't necessarily mean mortgage rates come down. Last year, the Fed cut and we went up. But this one, I think, is different. This looks like a very slow labor economy. Housing is picking up a little bit with lower rates. So I think, yeah, if you were going to ask me for a prediction like I used to do back in the day, I would think that maybe by year end we get around 5.5. But we'll know probably by next Wednesday, Thursday, if we're gonna dip below 6 in the next couple 3 weeks. But we are heading lower. No, that's a good thing. We are heading lower.
So, and that's the thing too to consider. If you go buy a house, like right now, it's about I'm focusing on buying a house right now. You go buy a house, you might get tempted by the idea of, well, I'll just buy down the rate and I'll keep this mortgage for a long time and I'll save money down the line. But that's not really how it works. So, if you're anticipating this kind of stuff, yeah, you go get the house and whatnot. And then you can always refinance in the future, right?
Well, the thing that we started doing a long time ago, and it was, as I always say, it was because rates got very volatile back in the 80s. So people were paying all this money to go ahead and refinance, every year almost, sometimes twice a year, because we were 18, 15, 13, 11, 9, eventually got down to, in 2012, we got down to 2.5, and then we repeated that back in 21. But having followed rates, I mean, you can ask me a year, I'll tell you what rates did that year. To go ahead and pay down at closing for these rates that are, they're lower than they were earlier this year, but they're higher than they've been for the last 12 years. And when you have housing and you have, like you said, Joe, you're in the 2s and you're not going to go ahead and sell because the rates are at 5 7/8. It's going to be the people that bought these last 3 years. So where we can really help and going forward is, anybody that bought the last 3 years, we were trying to tell you not to pay closing costs because the rates would come down. The media kept saying higher for longer, but if you've done this for 40 years, you can kind of see patterns, and rates just don't go straight up, whether they raise rates or cut rates, or everybody's like, they just go up. Well, we've had a 3% price gain in houses since 2022.
Yeah.
3% total. 3% total is about as flat as you can get. So it's, rates are really the problem for affordability, and those coming down. And like you said, builders are doing buy downs. But, if you can get that builder to go ahead and give you, an upgrade to cabinets or, something within the kitchen, master bath, use it.
Okay.
Because they were doing these buy downs to get people down to 6 1/4, Joe. And here we are today. We're at 6 1/4.
Well, funny how that works.
There was no benefit to the buy down. Right. None at all.
All right, man. Gordon Miller, MillerLending.com/the-OG. Go to that landing page.
Raleigh,
take that thing
Raleigh
to close.
Wine Shop.
Get the Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket when you take it to close. Get the row back from Giglio. Sleep in a hoodie if you want to, like Giglio. That's the move for some people. It all works out in the end. Gordon, we appreciate it, man. Hopefully your Lions get up off the mat. They take a kneecap off their next opponent, because that's what
you got to let them focus on the Tigers. Tigers all of a sudden feeling good again.
Wait, is the baseball season still going?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
They're the favorite in the
No,
AL.
I had no idea.
Gordon,
Our magic number is 8. 8. We can clinch against Cleveland next week, and I'll be there. So I'm gonna rush the field. You'll see me.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Bye, Gordon.
Bye, guys.
All right, let's go into the YouTube live comments here from William. In reference to yesterday's podcast, I'm one of the people who watches on YouTube, but hook it to my car and listens like a podcast. See, Joe?
I didn't say it couldn't be done.
I'm just saying it's a thing that can be done.
Okay.
And the offer still stands. If there's enough people that are willing to pay me $150 a month to send an MP3 to them directly, then I'll do it. I'll do it. I will do it. From Jess, Aye Zigga Zoomba was the bane of my existence in band. Hated that one. Would not be sad to see it purged from the catalog. Joe is here. He said they don't have the fried okra on the menu. Yes, they do,
Yeah.
Joe. It's on the specials, man. Come on. And it's on the specials along with OG Light, which they got the re-up here at Longleaf Swine. I highly recommend you get the fried okra. It's very, very good stuff. We saw a couple hats today. Two hats. What did the wonderful older lady ask you for?
Oh, she was just trying to figure out who we were.
Oh, okay. Oh, real quick.
So I got lots of stickers.
So apparently they saw me setting up here at the bar, and a customer came up and asked, "So where's the sign up for karaoke?" Like dead serious. He was like,
hey, we used to do that.
Karaoke at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. Or we could do
play
it here.
music like off site.
Yeah, we don't
on the show.
Yeah, we don't have to do it on a. We don't have to do
the YouTubes. We
Yes.
can't make money.
We can't make money on the YouTubes on that. So it
That
is
would
what
be
it is.
funny.
Oh, look at this from our friends Bloom and Blinds from Needham. Chris and Nico were out Saturday, did our kitchen and living room shades, did a great job. Super happy with
Let's
it.
go.
Love to hear that from Bloom and
Yes,
Blinds.
sir.
That is the good stuff right there. Let's freaking go. What else do we have here? From George, I made 2K from those bonus bets with the state run back in the tourney in
Hey.
Final Four. Hey, man, you get it how you can get it. That's what it's all about. And from Justin, a little late here. State loses tonight. They're the favorites. It's at Wake. And most importantly, it's in primetime, being the only college football game. The odds are stacked against Dave Dort in the pack. Man, Justin knows all about the law of the wolf, man. He knows all about the wolf. Also, from James, the laminated cards at UNC, we were talking about the card tricks and all that kind of stuff with Jeremy. He said they were deadly when they were laminated and thrown at the end of halftime. Man, I didn't want to be there for that. That is for sure. All right. One last Hey Joe. And this is kind of a more of a jokey Hey Joe. Hey Joe. Remember when you talked to Jim Phillips, ACC commissioner, at ACC kickoff in July, and you commended him for the revenue sharing model that they enacted, right?
Yeah, it seemed like one that other conference would benefit other conferences.
Yeah, and you said people were like, "You're full of shit, Giglio. What are you talking about? How the ACC
They got robbed.
The ACC is doomed." And you and I have
made a terrible deal.
You and I have been saying for a while now. At some point, other conferences and the big dogs in said conferences are going to look around and go, "Hey, so why is it that, I don't know, why is Vanderbilt getting the same amount of money we are? Why
am I subsidizing other programs that I'm competing against?
Maryland, what exactly would you say you do here?" Right? Well, I take you to Steve Berkowitz, USA Today. He published this yesterday. Headline: Ohio State president expects, quote, conversation will be had on Big Ten revenue sharing. An AI-assisted summary from USA Today. Key points: Ohio State president Ted Carter expects conversation about Big Ten's revenue sharing model. Carter highlighted Ohio State's, wait for it, significant brand value, citing high TV viewership for its football games. Future financial self-sufficiency could be challenged by rising costs related to athlete compensation for name, image, and likeness. Now, look, I say this as somebody who hates this, okay?
Yeah, you're down on this.
I
You've been down on this.
I do not
But this
like
goes
this.
back to the Big East when you didn't want Miami to get special treatment and say, "Hey, man, you want something, you earn it."
And the reason why I hate it is because it is the antithesis of what conferences are supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All for one, one for all.
Right. And you got to remember, the ACC's equal shared revenue was a feature that helped it survive that
for
era
a long time.
For a long time. And what got Miami and Virginia Tech and everybody to want to come here and leave the Big East. Okay. So understand the context and the history around equal revenue share and why I feel it's an important part of what makes a conference a conference. That being said, I understand why the ACC had to compromise and do what they did with this unequal revenue share, aka success initiatives. And the reason why I'm still against it is because I'm still thinking in the antiquated notion of conferences matter. But I'm antiquated. What are conferences now? I mean, I was just railing against. I mean, if we can't have NC State play Carolina and Duke twice in basketball, then what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right? It's not what these conferences are really supposed to be about. It's not giving the fans, the customers, if you will, what they really want, why we're here, all that kind of stuff. So if we all understand these things, hey man, who am I to argue against progress? And the only thing I would say is the further we get along this, you see where the slippery slope happens, right? All right, it starts in the ACC. Now the Big Ten's going, hey, Ohio State, getting with Michigan. Hey man, why are we sharing this money with Illinois? Why are we sharing this money with Iowa? Like, what are we doing here, right?
Yeah.
But here's where the step continues. At some point, this is the big fear. At some point, it goes beyond the conferences and the success initiatives within the conference. At some point, Ohio State is going to call up Alabama and go, you know, you and I, we have a lot more in common.
Hey, girl.
Hey, I see you across the bar. You're at
Hey,
Longleaf, sipping on some Buffalo Trace, and you look across the bar and you go, hey, Alabama.
Hey, girl.
So, if we played more,
I know it's late, but I knew you'd pick it up.
you know how much money we could make, right? And Michigan's gonna do the same thing too. Like, hey, Georgia, how about it's the old Notorious B.I.G. How about I call my friends, and you call your friends, and we could be friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep banging. So that's where we're headed.
Here's your bar. Drop your bar. You just did it.
Actually, I take that back. That was a Diddy line. I'm getting.
Uh-oh.
We're live. I can't take that back.
Nope.
Can't take that back. Sorry. Apologies for that. That's the Diddy part of that song. Whoops. Anyway, not the point. It still matters. How about you call your friends? I get my friends, and we can be friends. That's what's going to happen, and that's where we're headed. And I'm telling you, this shit's going to accelerate. It is 2025. By the time we get to 2030, we all kind of see where this is going, man. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's OG Live. Big thanks to Longleaf Swine for hosting us, as always. We'll see what happens tonight. Like we said, we are in an after dark emergency watch. It's not a warning.
Yes.
It's an advisory.
Yes.
It's an advisory. So if State loses to Wake Forest tonight, we'll go live with an OG After Dark because y'all will need some pack therapy, real pack therapy later tonight. And I'm sure all couple of you Wake Forest fans out there, and we know you exist. We know you guys listen to the podcast. We love you. You're going to want to talk your shit. And that's what the OG Sports Phone is for. So we'll see you tomorrow if NC State wins. We'll see you tonight if NC State loses.